Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Divorce Coach Diaries. So, this week, something that has been coming up for my clients again and again is the idea that it is so challenging to not take things personally or not make things mean something about you when other people behave in a certain way. As humans, we are so good at making it our fault when people behave badly. Sometimes we even do this when people are behaving in a way that we like. But here's the reality: people's behavior is 100% about them and not about you. This is always true. Whether this is good behavior, bad behavior, no behavior at all, it is about what is happening inside of that person. It is not about you. And you will set yourself free when you stop taking responsibility for other people's behavior and when you stop trying to control the behavior of other people. So this week, I was working with a client who told me a story about her daughter. And this daughter is about 10 years old, and she received some text from somebody who matters a lot to her. And she hasn't talked to this person in a long time. So she reached out to see how they were doing. And instead of having what most of us would consider just a normal conversation, this person sort of went off on a rant. And this daughter came into my client and found her in her bedroom, and she was crying and she's yelling, and she said, "I don't even want to talk to this person anymore. They make me feel so terrible about myself." And so my client read these texts, and it was so obvious to her that all of these texts were not about her daughter. They were about this person and what this person was going through. Now, a 10-year-old, even when you tell them, this is not about you, this is what's happening for this other person, they're not going to believe it. And what my client's daughter said was, "That's not true. Of course, this is about me. It's all about me. Look at this. They're telling me that I'm not good enough in this way, or that I am lacking in this way, or telling me how they think I should be different or better. It's all about me." And even as we grow and mature and have more life experience, it is so hard to not make other people's behavior mean something about us. But the more that you can practice this belief, the more that you can try it on, the more that you can slow down these situations that we find ourselves in, where our default mode is to make someone else's behavior mean something about us. The more we can let go of that, the happier, the freer, and the more peaceful we will live. There's nothing wrong with you if, like my client's daughter, your default reaction is, "What did I do? Should I have said something different? Maybe they're right. Maybe I should be better in this way." Maybe, our brain goes to this immediately. But the more we can remind ourselves, oh, this is about what's going on for them. This is not about me. The more that we will be able to act intentionally instead of react. So why do we do this? Why do we take things so personally? It's because one of our brain's main jobs is to look for danger. And it feels really dangerous to our brain to risk social rejection. So we want to think that there's something that we can do to not be in this dangerous place anymore. And so we try to control our behavior so that we can control those around us. You may have even grown up in an environment that taught you that it's your job to manage other people's emotions and behaviors. And if that's the case, the way that you behave makes perfect sense. It makes sense that you are making other people's behavior about you. We all do it. All healthy humans do that. This belief that if they're upset, it must be my fault runs so deep for some of us. But it doesn't mean that you can't make progress and start to live more confidently and more peacefully. So, what's actually happening inside? People behave because of what is going on inside of them, their own thoughts, their own emotions, their own traumas, their past, their lived experience, their coping strategies. When someone, like my client's daughter, texts you a big laundry list of things that they think you should be better or doing differently or ways that you're falling short, this is because of some sort of pain or fear that they are living from. Because here's the thing, there is a difference between causation and a trigger. Our behavior might trigger something in somebody else, but the way that they behave and the way that we behave, if we're triggered by something somebody does, what happens next is still only because of what is happening inside of us or inside of them. Their behavior might be a response to a trigger that they have, just like our response has to do with our own triggers. It's not about the other person. So, what about other ways that this might come up in our lives? Maybe you are texting a friend and this friend doesn't reply. It's so easy to go to the place of, oh, well, did I say something wrong or are they mad at me? Or, but all these things, we make it about us. But if you're like me, there are text threads that just get lost. Maybe you're really busy and you've just got too much on your plate and you forget. That's about us. That is not about that other person. What about if your partner withdraws? That again is not about you. And sometimes people tell us explicitly, you made me do this, or you're the reason I'm behaving in this way. And you know what? It's just not true. Emotional adulthood means taking responsibility for your own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And this is hard to do because it feels so much more powerful to blame somebody else. But it's just not true. And we find ourselves, the more that we blame other people, the more powerless we become, and the less we're actually creating what we want in our life. So, where does your freedom come in when you start to believe that other people's behavior is about them and not about you? You can stop spending your energy trying to manage how other people see you. You can stop spending your energy trying to control out of self-preservation the behavior of those around us. You can start to actually live more intentionally and live bigger, regardless of how other people react or how they behave. And when we can believe this and live from this space, we can shift from reaction mode to response, because reacting and responding are not the same things. We get to choose how we respond. So, what about when you just can't get there? What do you do if it's too challenging in a certain relationship to not believe that this other person's behavior isn't about you? What do you do then? One, you don't judge yourself. You don't tell yourself, I should be able to not make this about me. You don't tell yourself, it would be so much better if I wasn't taking this on. I know this, so why can't I believe it? Why is it so hard? Stop judging yourself because most likely it makes perfect sense for why it's too challenging to believe right now. So while you're not judging yourself, you're going to remind yourself, this isn't about me. And even though I have a really hard time believing that right now, I'm going to keep trying. This might also be a really good opportunity to practice setting and holding some really important boundaries. If there's a certain person in your life where it is so challenging to believe that their behavior isn't about you, maybe that person doesn't need as much access to you as they have right now. Maybe you choose to not engage. There are so many options available to you that will help you be in a healthier, stronger place so that you can strengthen this muscle of believing that other people's behavior is not about you, it's about them. And their bad behavior, our bad behavior, it always comes from a place of pain or fear. So, here are some questions that I like to ask myself and that I like to offer to my clients when these situations come up. Take a pause and ask yourself something like, what if this isn't about me? What else could it be about? Maybe you ask yourself, I wonder what is going on for them that they think that this is a reasonable way to behave or to talk to someone. Those are some really important questions to help you get out of the space of finding evidence that this is about you, because it's just not. So, my friends, this takes work, but this is work worth doing. I would love to help you with this. If you have a particularly challenging relationship that this continues to come up and it's just causing pain for you, let me help you with that. I help people for free on Tuesdays. Come and hop on my calendar, megthedivorcecoach.com/free coaching, and I can help you with this. Let's work through it together. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next week.